So for the last 5 to 10 years, our society has been going through another pivotal shift change. And this happens every 50 to 60 years or so. It happened in the 1960s. It happened in the 1900s when we came up with the automobile and we were switching everybody from the horse and carriage over to the automobile. And society was saying, oh, automobiles are a fad. They'll never last. And where are we now, right? These shifts happen and there's nothing you can do about it. We no longer have poles at any of these stores we go to. We don't have buckets of water for horses to drink anymore. This stuff is gone. It gets removed and all the kicking and screaming and whining will not prevent it. All right. It's just not going to happen. The same as the pivotal shift that's happening right now into electric vehicles and solar. This is where we're going. Sustainable energy. Nothing you can do can change it. And I don't know why you'd be so much against this sustainable energy in the sense. However, I can understand people wanting to keep their fuel-injected vehicles the same way as some people kept their carbureted vehicles. And the hell, there's even some people like in the Amish community that still use a horse and carriage. And if you still want to be 100 years behind, 200 years behind, that's fine. Live your life. But unfortunately, you're not going to stop society. All the kicking and screaming will not prevent this. As a matter of fact, over 1,000 Shell locations in the U.S. have now removed all their fuel pumps and are putting in EV chargers, and that's it. That's all they're putting in. No more fuel pumps at those places. All right? We now have Tesla superchargers at the rate in this country, one whole location of superchargers, which is anywhere from 10 to 20 plus actual superchargers per every 15 fuel stations. That's how crazy this is getting. And that's just Tesla's supercharging network. We're not talking about all the other networks that are available, correct? Or all the charging we do at home, which, by the way, if you have an EV like a Tesla, we charge at home. I charge at home. I use solar. It charges in about 4 to 5 hours completely, and I don't pay a dime. No maintenance other than tires and cabin filters, and I don't pay any fuel costs, no charging costs. Now, if I travel, I pay to charge, but I'm telling you right now, it's a fraction of what you guys are paying at the actual fuel pumps. And these places are always at hotels, places you stay overnight when you're traveling, even at restaurants, areas, nice plazas and stuff. That's what's at these locations. So there's always something to do. And on top of it, we have movies and games and everything else in our Tesla. So it doesn't matter. These changes are happening, guys. You're not going to stop it. All right. So what we have to do right now is under this recall, we have to start changing the way we define certain things. Now, the definition for a recall hasn't changed in over 40 years. And essentially what it states is any vehicle that has a major change to it in a mass amount of quantity. Okay. Well, with that, we got to remember, these are pieces of software. These are pieces of software, right? So did that just glitch? I think everything's trying to shut me down right now. And you have to remember, we're updating things such as games and making slight software changes. That is not a recall, but it falls under the old definition of a recall, which is where we have this problem. There was a slight update change, right? And now they're trying to claim that we need to probe them because of a 2 million vehicle recall on autopilot, which it wasn't a recall. They just changed the way that you have to shake the wheel and pay a little more attention. That's it. That's all it was. All right. That's not any more of a recall than your iPhone getting an update every month is a recall. So if that's the case, then I guess Apple has nonstop recalls. Facebook has recalls you should probably look into because they update their app. Anybody with an app that updates, guess what? That's a recall as long as you remove the word vehicle from the definition, their definition. The term recall is not what it used to be. All right. Software updates, we get software updates on the car the same as you get software updates on your phone. Same way as you get software updates on your TV, your computers. It's all the same thing. And we need to change this definition because it's old and outdated. Our society is old and outdated and it's not moving with the times and where we're headed as a society. Now, this brings me to my next point, and that is these old dinosaurs, Democrats, Republicans, independent, all these 60, 70, 80-year-olds that know nothing about technology, and they're making all these policies and changes based on their own personal interest and investments, which is the number one commodity for the government, oil, right? Again, responsible for over 90% of the wars for this country. So if we remove oil, granted there's still going to be oil for plastic, but if we remove oil, okay, from vehicles, guess what? We're going to reduce war because we don't need oil anymore. It's worthless, so we don't have to go killing people. It doesn't matter anymore. We don't have to worry about all this nonsensical crap that makes no difference. The same way as there will be a pivotal change in our society in the future, trust me, with flying cars, they're going to have to rewrite all the laws for having a pilot's license. They're going to have to rewrite all the laws for the air and for flight and everything else. All the airspace laws are going to have to change because we change as a society. This is how it works. Now, the bigger problem we have isn't just all these people in the House and the Senate who are outdated way of thinking. They don't understand anything. But here's what we need. First of all these people need to have a term limit. That's number one. Number two, they all should be prohibited from investing in stock, crypto, etc., because this will create no incentive for them to manipulate proposals for their own personal gain. That's a very big one. And we definitely need a president that understands the future. Okay, they have to understand where we're going as a society, and they need to help pave the way. Worst case scenario, we will take a president, but they need a consultant that understands what's going on with the change that we're heading into. So my opinion, if I was running for president, if I became president, I would bring Elon Musk on as a consultant and help shape the country for the future. I'm sorry, a lot of you don't want to hear that, but unfortunately change happens again, whether you like it or not. Again, we went from the horse and carriage to the automobile, crank-up motor, right? Then we went up to carburation. Then when we went to fuel injection, nobody wanted to change the fuel injection. They all wanted their good old carburetors, and a lot of them kept them. They still have them today, right? It's just harder to find the parts. Same way as it's going to be for fuel injection. I'm sorry, that's just where we're headed. I know a lot of people will fight and struggle and be upset with this video. But we also, again, really need a president that understands this. The country's a business, number one. We really definitely need a businessman in charge. But we need somebody who's not just having a high IQ or very intelligent or an intellect for business. They need to understand futures, right, and where we're headed. This way we can reshape and mold the country for where we are headed as a society, and that will bring us prosperous economy. Simple. I know it doesn't sound like it, but when we have sustainable energy, when we all have solar, I don't pay for electric. I have 25-year warranty on my Tesla panels. Won't pay for electric again, and I'll have to replace the panels anywhere from 30 years from now, if I'm still alive 30 years from now, right? But that's when I'll have to transition and change my panels, which I'm sure there will be something much better by then, right? I don't pay for fuel anymore. I don't pay for maintenance anymore. However, now I do want to explain one thing. The changes that happen every 50 to 60 years, right? The reason we're hearing so much about this now and so much fight from it this time and never so much before is because it wasn't really well documented during these pivotal moments in our society when we're moving more towards a future and having major changes because we didn't have the internet. Now everybody's finding groups, voicing their opinions as a group, and they're going to do this, and what it's going to do is we're going to have all this data in history for the next change 50, 60, 70 years from now. More than likely, we'll have flying cars, and that's what the argument will be over. Oh, I'm not driving a flying car. Hey, honey, do you have my tickets for the airplane? I hate air travel, but hey, we're going to go on the airplane just fine, right? Let's spend more money on the airplane instead of just flying our own vehicle. I'm sure that'll be an argument, but now we will have a precedence on one of these moments and changes in our society. So again, these are things that are happening, whether you like it or not. We're changing into sustainable energy. We're changing into things like EVs, solar. You can keep your truck, you can keep your car, nobody cares, but I'm telling you, you're not going to have, in 10, 15 years from now, really any place to fuel it up or find the parts you need, because this stuff's going to start phasing out. And that's just the way it is. And we need Congress that's younger and more intelligent, high IQ, younger. When I say younger, I think anywhere from 35 to 65 is a great age frame. But again, we need a consultant for somebody to help reshape our way of thinking in our society, because we keep hitting roadblocks like this old out-of-dated definition. This definition needs to change because we have software updates. Again, software update is not a recall. Our iPhones are not getting recalled every month, boys and girls. That's just not what it is. Our TVs are not getting a 6-month recall twice a year. You know what I'm saying? We have to change our definition. You're going to have to change your way of life if you want to. Again, you can kick and fight and scream. Look at the Amish. They still live out in little Amish counties. We have people who live off the grid. They got people now living in campers and stuff, traveling. I mean, you guys can do that if you want, but I love my sustainable energy. I love not paying anything. I love just bringing in money and it not going to anybody else, minus the IRS. That's a whole nother story, though. The IRS is a whole other argument. We got to take them down. I love you guys at the IRS. I promise not to talk crap. But again, keep in mind, when we vote for a president, I'm sure we don't have anybody worth a damn this time, this presidential election, but we need to find somebody who will understand this and will help shape the country for the better. And again, reducing oil reduces wars, reduces deaths. Anybody who's been in the military knows, for the most part, who's not a sociopath that was in the military, knows you don't want this crap. You just don't. Nobody wants to go out and killing innocent people, and that's what it is a lot of the time. Nobody just wants to go out and killing people if we don't have to, right? End oil, you're going to end the majority of wars, and that just leaves the small 6% of wars that have to do with religion, right? And you'll never change religion, but Keep that in mind when you vote in the 2024 election.